But let's start with this big story from the United States, where there is a debate about free speech that is raging in the United States of America in the aftermath of the murder of the right-wing political influencer Charlie Kirk. The discourse has largely been political and bipartisan, and it is led by none other than the American President Donald Trump himself. Now, Trump responded to a question about the TV host Jimmy Kimmel while returning to the US following his visit to the United Kingdom. Now, the American president hailed the decision of Jimmy Kimmel's show being suspended and called Jimmy Kimmel a guy with no talent. Listen to what was said by the American president.
Who would you like to see replace Kimmel on late night?
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him. Guy had no talent. Kimmel had, look, he was fired. He had no talent. He's a whack job, but he had no talent. And more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings. His ratings were worse than Colbert, I think. They got rid of Colbert, which was a good thing to do.
Now, Donald Trump did not just stop at Jimmy Kimmel. The Republican president also slammed TV networks, claiming that 97% of all networks in America are against him and only give him bad publicity. While Trump did not quote as to what report he was reading out his statistic from, the American president, in fact, went as far as to say that the licenses of networks that cover him in a bad light should be taken away. Listen in.
Host is on network television. There is a licensing. I'll give you an example. I read someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won easily. Won all 7 swing states, popular, but won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Carp.
All right, so their licenses should be taken away. That's what he says. Now, following the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's show, several comedians in the United States are now rallying their support for the celebrity night show host. Listen.
I felt like I should ramp things up, just because that's what we do. You know, our medium challenges the status quo, and be it, you know, conservative or liberal, we create discourse, and I think that's needed, right, in a democracy.
Comedy is the last vestige of free speech that we have. It's the first wall of defense. It's what tyranny always takes away first, right? Comedy, humorous, when it comes to politics and political cartoons, it's always been right there.
Now, in the United States, there is a rising concern about the limitations on free speech, majorly against left-leaning groups and individuals or those who are critical of the current administration. On the other hand, when Charlie Kirk was murdered on the 10th of September, the mass condemnation was based on the common belief that there needs to be tolerance for difference of opinion, and violence crosses a clear red line. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. Ray Locker, who's a senior journalist, author and a columnist, who's joining us live on WION. Mr. Locker, this controversy of Jimmy Kimmel being taken off air, his show being suspended, possibly after he took a dig at Donald Trump grieving over Charlie Kirk and the extent of his grief. You know, this is played up in a very, very big way. And then the president to come out and say that this was in fact a talent issue. He had no ratings. Why is it that this has become such a huge controversy in the United States?
Well, first of all, when Charlie Kirk was murdered last week, it was inevitable that Trump would try to weaponize that against his political opponents. And we're seeing exactly that. You know, people are being attacked for not showing enough reverence to Kirk, who most Americans have never really heard of. And by the way, let's just say at the outset, it's terrible to kill people you don't agree with. That should never be condoned by anybody. And anybody who does condone that deserves to be shunned. But going back to Kimmel, he's been a thorn in Trump's side for a long time. We saw back in July when Colbert's show was canceled. Trump said Jimmy Kimmel is next. So he's been targeting him for a long time, and it was just looking for a reason to do it.
And also, the American president quoted a statistic, we do not know where he came up with that number, where he said 97% of American TV networks only cover him in a bad way and give him bad publicity. He also went on to state that they should have their licenses taken away. This is an American president talking about networks, media networks in the United States of America. What does this do for free speech in the United States, a country that calls itself the land of the free?
Well, it makes us look like hypocrites, doesn't it? Or we're going to preach to another country that it's not doing right by, its broadcasters or other people speaking out. I mean, if we were to say, to India, hey, you shouldn't have done that to some Congress party supporter, well, what credibility do we have? We don't have any. I mean, particularly when it comes from the White House. We should be better than that. But I mean, look, people in general always are looking for ways to silence people they disagree with. That's happened for a long time. But if you're a civil libertarian like I am, everybody has the right to say what they want to say, where they want to say it. And for government to step in and use the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, to try to strong arm a TV network to silence a critic, that's wrong.
Indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Revoking, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thanks.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.